Hello, hello, hello. This is Katrina Brittingham, your navigator on your road to success. And we are here with another episode of Career GPS. Today, we are talking about how to hire employees or contractors for your business. So, if you are a solopreneur, you have the option of using your social security number to file taxes and to do business. However, when you are hiring employees, there are different things that you need to do to make sure that you are um, up and running for business and make sure that you are set up properly. So before you find the right person for the job, you'll need to create a plan for paying your employees and or contractors. And if you follow these steps, you can set your payroll up with little to no problem. The first thing you want to do is, if you don't have one already, is get an EIN number. Your EIN number is your employer identification number. And so it allows you to be set up as an employer with the federal government. So you can take out the federal taxes if you have employees. If you're a contractor, you would file the 1099, and you don't have to be responsible for taxes. One thing I do tell people who are bringing on employees is that once you become an employer, there are certain things that you need, and that's the one thing is taking out the state, city, and federal taxes. What I found as an employer, because I became an employer and didn't really know that until I got into it, is that when you pay your taxes, the employer pays half of it and the employee pays the other half. So you're actually paying double the amount of taxes for your employee and yourself, and you're taking that and you're taking it to pay the federal government on behalf of your employee. So, with that being said, you want to decide if you want an independent contractor or go into a contractor relationship with the people that you employ, or if you want to have actual employees. If you do, you need to make sure that your new employees return and complete a W 4 form. This W 4 form will tell you how to take taxes out of their check, if you take any at all. If they can actually decide that they don't want any taxes taken out, and they will elect that on the W 4 form. However, if they do that, and it says it on the form, that if they owe any taxes, they would be responsible for paying them all at the end of the year. So instead of getting a refund or breaking even, they may have a tax bill on their hands. Number the next number in the series is that you want to choose an in-house or an external service for administering your payroll. So you can do that by setting up different software programs. QuickBooks has a format where you can do payroll through that, and you can manage that on your own, or you can hire an accountant who will manage that, either a contract, or you can hire someone internal to do your taxes during the year and manage your books during the year. You can also have software programs like Wave, who allows you to pay not just employees, but also contract employees. I like Wave. It's relatively inexpensive to manage. You have and load up all of your employees and your contractors in there, and you can actually pay and do your payroll through them. It's quick, and I'm not going to say it's quick and easy, but it's simple to manage, and they actually have support for you to help you to manage that, or whoever you designate to do your accounting functions. You want to know which records must stay on file and for how long. So there are certain records that you have to keep on file for 10 years, 7 years, etc. So you want to check with the IRS. You want to check with your city and your state to find out how long it is going to take you to do that. How long you have to save your paperwork and keep your paperwork on file. Because if they decide that they want to come in and do an audit, you need to have that paperwork for them. You want to report your payroll taxes on a quarterly or annual base. As an employer, you have the option of paying your taxes for your employees on a quarterly basis. So then when you get up to the year, you have it there, or you can pay it all at the end of the year. So you would decide which one would be better. So going back up to the top, the IRS maintains the employer's tax guide, which provides you with a guide on all federal tax filing requirements that could apply to your business. You want to check with your state and local agencies for their filing stipulations and what you need to do for that. So you want to distinguish between your employees and your independent contractors, and this can affect your bottom line as it affects how you withhold taxes and also how you pay taxes. Again, you're only withholding half of the amount of taxes for the employee, and you have to pay the other half. So you have to budget for that extra expense that's going to come out. And you want to avoid any legal consequences that you may have with the IRS because you're not following the guidelines. And so you need to learn the difference before hiring your first employee or contracting your first contractor. An independent contractor operates under a separate business name, or they're individual. And so you want to have that information, and you provide payments based on invoices or whatever your contracted agreement is with that. So I have contractors that work for me. And so I go into a contract with them. I let them know this is when you're going to get paid. This is how much you're going to get paid, how often, whatever other guidelines that I may have for them. At the end of the year, you do have to file with the IRS a 1099 form for them. And that 1099 form is filed with the IRS, and you have to mail it out to them. If you have employees, then you have to complete a W-2 for them. And you have to file that with the government. And you also have to make sure that your person gets that electronically and or in the mail. And they need to receive that by January 31st. The same thing with the 1099. They need to receive that by January 31st. So you need to know what dates you need to pay them. If your contractor is discovered to meet the legal definition of an employee, you may need to pay back taxes and penalties. You need to provide benefits and reimburse for wages stipulated under the Fair Labor Standards Act. So you need to find out what the requirements are in your state and federally for a contractor, and make sure that they are meeting the guidelines of being a contractor if that's how you want to go. If not, then you can find yourself in some trouble. So you want to make sure that you go to the IRS, look at their guidelines as stated earlier, to find out what those guidelines are. So you are required to pay Social Security taxes. So you need to go and find out how much the rate is for employers for Social Security taxes if you have an employee and not a contractor. Contractors, you do not have to take taxes out. They're responsible for their own taxes. But if you have an employee, you have to take Social Security out. You have to take FICA out, the federal taxes, and you have to take Medicare and Medicaid. And that's just on the federal level. Once you get to the state and city level, you have state taxes and you have city taxes. If you are in the counties or surrounding counties, at least in where I am in the state of Pennsylvania, you have county. So you have the city tax, and then you have the county tax that you are responsible for making sure that it comes out of their payroll. So these are the things that you want to look at. If you have employees, whether they're virtual or not, you are required to pay workers' compensation. I found that out. So you would go to the state workers' compensation website and get the information on that and get that insurance. Because if that person trips and falls during business hours, even if they're working from home or remotely, you are responsible as the employer to have workers' compensation for your people and to make sure that they're covered. And trust me, once you file and say you have an employee, if you do not file for workers' compensation insurance, the workers' compensation people will come to you and tell you that you have to pay workers' compensation. You want to look at disability insurance. You may need that. It is required in the states of California, Hawaii, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, and Puerto Rico. So if you are in those areas, you want to look at the disability insurance because you are required to provide that for your employers. Any leave benefits. So most leave benefits are optional aside from those stipulated under the Family Medical Leave Act or FMLA. So you need to look at what the requirements are for family medical leave for your employees. You would need to file for unemployment insurance, and that varies by your state. So you may need to register with your local workforce agency to get information on unemployment insurance. And as an employer, I did have to go through having unemployment insurance. By the time my employee had become unemployed, they had switched over to be a contractor because they said that they like to work that way better, not knowing that if once they left and severed the contract, that they would no longer get unemployment. So then I had to go through that and prove that this person had a contract. So I had to send the contract over and let them know that they were a contract employee, and I was not responsible for paying out unemployment. So when you have that unemployment insurance, you are responsible for paying out unemployment and a certain percentage of unemployment for your employees. So that's something that you want to budget for and know about. So your small business or your medium-sized business or large business can offer a complete range of optional benefits to help attract and retain employees. Remember, if you're looking for someone, you're in competition with other businesses that are providing certain benefits to your employees. So you want to take a look at that. Even if a benefit you offer is optional, it still may have to comply with certain laws with you offering it. So you need to take a look at the laws that require it. So you want to maybe hire a lawyer, a HR professional, someone who knows the law about payroll. You can go to an accounting firm, hire yourself an accounting, someone who knows what the rules are for that. You can hire a business coach like myself to help you with that. Businesses that offer group health plans must comply with federal laws, which the Department of Labor has a guide for that. So, because we are in the time that we are, you can pick up a package in which you provide to your employees. You can have them cover the entire cost. You can supplement some of the costs and have them pay a smaller amount, or you have the option of providing them a certain amount of money to go out to the exchange. Because these things are changing and laws are changing and the exchange is changing, you would need to find out what the requirements are as a small business. And it depends on how many employees you have, depending on what benefits you have, or at least it was the last time I checked, to have the people go out to the exchange. So you want to check and make sure that nothing has changed. Businesses that offer group health insurance plans, provide a service to your people. Also, if they separate from you, they fall under the coverage of the Affordable Care Act and may qualify for COBRA, or the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, which basically extends their health insurance out for, I believe, is 18 to 36 months and everything like that. But they would be responsible for paying the full amount of the premium for the health insurance. So if you're supplementing, you no longer have to supplement, but you do have to offer COBRA to your separated employees once they separate. And so you have to provide that. You have to provide that in a certain amount of time. The employee that has been laid off or terminated, or they separate from you, you just still have to send out that paperwork, and you have to make sure that they get that in a certain amount of time, because they only have about 30 to 60 days, I believe, to apply for that if they choose to, or they can choose to waive that. And most people do waive it because it's quite expensive. Retirement plans are popular as far as a benefit. So you can consider offering an employer sponsored plan like a 401k or a pension plan. Most times people don't do pensions nowadays, but 401ks are really popular, and you can have them again supplement whatever they provide. You can provide a certain amount on top of that, or they could be responsible for making the payments pre-tax to save for retirement. So the government offers a wide range of resources to aid small business owners in choosing their retirement plan. So you can take a look and research that, or have someone research that, or have a benefits analyst that you hire in who can manage that, or a HR specialist, someone who has gone to school for that or have a certification. Normally it comes through SHRM. And I believe it's Society for Human Resources Management. And they have different certifications for that. You want to take a look at your employee incentive program, which will help boost morale and create a more urgency for coming to your company. Make the position more attractive to people who are applying. Common incentives include stock options. If you offer stock options if you have stock for your company, offering stock options is attractive to some people. You can offer flex time, wellness programs, which is like gym reimbursements, getting certain shots and being reimbursed for them, things like that, corporate memberships and corporate events. So you want to consider having a benefits administration software if your budget allows that. If not, again, you want to have somebody who's well versed in that, and it can make your accounting easier and more effective. Detailing these benefits in a employee handbook will help your staff make decisions, and they can use it as a reference during the time that they are working with you in the workplace, or when they go home. Have a copy of their handbook so they know what is offered to them and is detailed out and spelled out. If you need someone to create that for you, you can contract that out. You can hire someone to do it for you. You can have someone, again, have an HR team where they create the handbook and they make any changes that need to be made over time. So when you're hiring people, you want to look at the rights for employees, so that their rights are protected and your business is adhering to labor laws, which means you must ensure that business practices align with the industry regulations for that. This includes learning the laws for veterans, foreign workers, household employees, child labor, and people with disabilities. All of these things apply to you when you are looking to hire an employee. You must also comply with terminating an employee, because there is a process for that. Laying off workers, there's a policy for that, and downsizing your company. They're all federal programs and federal guidelines that govern these different things. So these are things that you want to look at. So if you want to find out what the policy is on a federal and state level, you can go to the Department of Labor, and there's one for federal and there is one for your specific state. I will say that, it's hard to determine whether you want an employee or whether you want a contractor. Laws can be pretty complex, so you might want to consult a labor lawyer, or again, someone who's well versed in HR management. You don't want to make any wrong steps or footholds, because it can put you in a place where you're owing taxes, or worse, where you are violating certain laws, and that could put you in a place that you don't want to have in your business. So think carefully before you hire employees. Your business can grow to the point where you need employees, and that's fine. But you want to make sure, just like when you're establishing and setting up a business, you want to make sure that everything is set up the way it's supposed to be set up so that you can function efficiently, effectively, and you're making sure that the rights of your employees are being taken into consideration when you're doing that. When you're doing your hiring and your hiring practices, you want to make sure that you're following laws with who you hire and how you hire. Make sure that you are not discriminating on the protected classes based on race, sexual orientation, gender, those types of things. And you want to have policies and procedures in place that are written down, that people know what to do. You also want to take a look at contractors. Make sure that your contracts are written up correctly. You may want to consult a lawyer before you create those contracts, have them review them, make sure you're going through the ins and outs, make sure that your documentation that you're providing to contractors and also employees are protected. Make sure that they know what's proprietary, what they have to return, what they cannot make public, what they cannot use as their own personal things. There are certain things that you need to make sure that are written out for them. You want to make sure that you have the standard hours that they're going to be working. If it's 9 to 5, it's 8 to 4, 7 to 3, vice versa, and on and on and so forth. There are also different laws that govern full-time employees and the benefits they receive versus part-time employees and the benefits that they receive. You want to look at probation time. Like if you want to implement a probation time before certain benefits come in, you are allowed to do that, but you need to know what the laws are that govern that. So, this is a short show today. I figured that it would be, but I'm all about trying to help you grow your business so you can thrive through COVID and beyond. And part of that is as you grow, because we do have some people who are growing and need to hire employees or bring in contractors to make sure that you are legally sound with your business. Make sure that foundation is there before you bring on any employees or contractors so that when you have them on board, you can have smooth sailing when it comes to the setup of your employees. And I thank you for joining us for Career GPS on today, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. If you want to be a guest on the show, please contact me at info@ventureready.net and we can set you up to be a guest on the show. If you have a business related question or a career related question, you can email me at info@ventureready.net and we'll have a video here for you. Thank you again and have a good night.